Blame it on the ESPN, that's right. I was worried about filling these seats up, but I guess they're all waiting under the shade, under the grandstands in the shade. Like at, where were we? Bristol. We're talking about that Friday night crowd and being 100,000 people and what have you. And the race is about starting. I said, you guys are crazy. The grandstand's ain't half full. I mean, they would look like it's about a third full. But they started that race.
Start your engines, and here they come.
And they fill that sucker up. I guess they're all underneath in the shade and staying cool.
Race fans ain't dumb.
That's right.
Yes, Jill. It's in the back of the car. Steven has the key.
Shoot Carnival.
One or the other.
Hey, we got to know who wins first.
I think this whole deal's some kind of frame up. We'd be framing and jamming.
Are we framed?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain with the always exciting Benny Parsons to talk about the newfound.
Is it any good? Is that all right, Dave?
Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain along with Benny Parsons. I guess it's too late for me to dump a bunch of pork chop down my front. I missed that opportunity. Hello, everybody. I'm Dave Despain, along with the ever-exciting Benny Parsons, to talk about the newfound excitement here in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
I mean, Dave and folks, it used to be the Jack Sprague Ron Hornet. They seem to win all these truck races. That's not the case anymore.
No, indeed. We've had 10 different winners this year, 5 of them first time. Check out the list. Everybody from Compton on down, a first or second year driver in the series. Hensley, of course, the exception. He's the old veteran. For a young driver, Benny, wanting to win at Louisville today, you could give him one word of advice, what would it be?
Patience.
Patience. Patience. Okay. Count them, 2 minutes.
2 minutes to post. 2 minutes. Count them. 2 minutes to post.
Is backwards. It's going to surprise us. It's going to be a better race than we expect. That's the point. Expectations are low. So let's just dazzle them with a great open. There we go.
I think this is better.
ESPN joins the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing in celebrating NASCAR's 50th anniversary. Out of the gate comes a field of four-wheel thoroughbreds ready to run for the roses. Louisville is the home of horsepower, but that term takes on a new dimension with the arrival of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Championship Battle.
If we were at Churchill Downs, it would take one jockey, 1 horsepower, a little over 2 minutes to cover 1 lap. But we're at Louisville Motor Speedway, and we've got 15,000 horsepower. And it's going to take only 15 seconds a lap.
We've had 6 different winners in the last 6 races, including 3 first-timers, 2 young colts, and 1 veteran jockey who's not quite ready yet to be put out to pasture. Only 1 stud in this field has been previously successful in this Derby in Kentucky. Hornaday needs a win, place, or show today to hold on to the lead.
And the history of this event is that the winner has come from the first 2 rows every single time. That means it could be Mike Bliss or Andy Houston, who picked up his first victory at New Hampshire this year. And if you move to the front row, well, take a look at Kevin Harvick. The Winston West points leader right now has his best starting position. And that means who's on the point? Well, it's Terry Cook. For 33 races, this team couldn't find the top 5. In the last 3, you've got a win and a second, and now a pole. What's been the difference?
Well, I think a lot of it's been good, hard teamwork. We've hired some new people, which has freed the crew chief up to do some work in the shop, and it's paying off.
Well, if you're a gambler on the horsepower, hold your tickets, fans, because we may be in for a photo finish today.
Believe it or not, folks, we're not just horsing around here. ESPN has come to Louisville, Kentucky for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series action. The fans have filed in for the Kroger 225 at Louisville Motor Speedway, featuring a series that has a pretty interesting point battle. The top 3 guys have been caught from the back, making this a much more interesting championship fight. And those 3 guys have, not so hot starting positions here today on a track where some say qualifying and starting up front is everything. Hello, everyone. I'm Dave Despain with the ever-exciting Benny Parsons to talk about the new excitement in the Truck Series.
You know, used to, folks, Ron Hornaday, Jack Sprague seem to win all these truck races, but not anymore. A bunch of newcomers have jumped up into the winner's circle.
Season long, we've had 10 different winners. 5 of them are first-timers. Take a look at this new breed of winner in the series. From Cook on down, they are first-time winners. Hensley, they're all first-time winners. From Cook on down, they're all either first- or second-year drivers. Hensley has been around a while, but as you can see by the start list, it took him a long time to win. Now, Benny, with all these new guys here trying to do battle at Louisville, give them one word of advice that might be valuable today.
That's easy. Patience.
Patience.
Patience, because today they're going to be behind other trucks that are slower than they are. But they just can't go up there and start beating and banging to try to get that truck out of the way. If they do, they're going to be involved in the crash along with that guy they hit.
You say they can't. I'll bet they can. The track is the secret to this whole deal. It's a very interesting piece of asphalt.
This is kind of like a D that's laying on its side. The back stretch is the top part of the D, or the curved part of the D. The front stretch is only 350 feet long, so a very short place to do some passing. Corners banked 12 degrees, and the straightaways are banked 6 degrees.
And this particular corner has been a bit of a devil throughout the practice and qualifying here.
You can see the cement dust that's down there. They have put some sealer on that this morning, trying to get this asphalt to stick together. They repaved this surface over the years. As a matter of fact, have spent almost $500,000 trying to make this facility top-notch for these Craftsman Truck Series in the past year. They have had some track breaking up in this specific area.
High temperatures have not helped. The sun is behind a cloud today. The track temperature cooler than yesterday. That could be good news. We're going to crank them up and heat it up right after this commercial break. Shield them lights. I think we're probably going to put that, you want to put yours there or put mine there? There we go. Put them both there. Chair back here so I can sit my lazy butt down.
No. Not bad at all. So I guess I can see the spinners down here and you see the spinners down there, huh?
I'm watching the monitor.
When are they going to start these things up? Or
Waiting
second?
for us. Mm-hmm. And the result was?
They're waiting for us.
It's showtime by Kroger 225. See what? Kroger, start your engine!
The engines have fired at Louisville. Speed World coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series brought to you by Daytona USA, the ultimate motorsports attraction. By the new Dodge, it's about change. And by Pennzoil, specially formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil. Engines coming to life, warming up this field. Let's take a look at how they will line up today. It's 14 Chevrolets, 12 Fords, and 5 Dodges. They've all won in competition this year. As the trucks roll out onto the pace lap, you note that the points there show Chevrolet in the lead. We'll take a look at the grid as you face the field. Terry Cook is your pole sitter with Kevin Harvick alongside. We talked about the new breed, the young stars. There are 2 of them right there. And Andy Houston starting inside row 2 fits that bill as well. First-time winner in Loudon, Mike Bliss, the veteran, outside. Then comes the rookie point leader, Greg Biffle, flanked by the 2-time winner, Tony Raines. Stacey Compton has won twice in this his sophomore season. Tony Roper with a new ride there in that Ice House deal looking for his first win. Sauter and Crawford rounding out your top 10 in qualifying, Benny.
Back in row 11, we have the third guy in the points, Joe Rutten, alongside Mike Wallace, who crashed in practice yesterday after qualifying. Jack Sprague, second in the points on the inside of row 7. Jimmy Inslee, a winner 2 weeks ago on the outside. Scott Walters, a local driver on the inside of row 8. Boris Sid also crashed in practice yesterday. Bill Kimmel, the track champion here at Louisville Motor Speedway last year, in the late model series on the inside of row 9, and Ron Hornaday, our points leader.
They come back there through the rest of the field. Raffner with a new ride after a change. Benny, an interesting mix of veterans and young talent in the back, and the back is not the place you want to start here.
All right, this is going to be really, really hard for these guys to work their way forwards because the passing is going to be at a premium here because the racetrack, they made it faster. They made the racetrack better by the repaving job, but all the trucks are going to want to run in the same spot.
Pretty tough to get too wide here and make the pass clean, but as we've seen in 3 previous appearances, a lot of guys not afraid to go ahead and try to make the move. Hornaday's been the dominant driver on this racetrack as we look through the field, through the races of records here.
And they will not be having record pit stops as the truck series has been having. They will have a competition yellow at lap 114, and that's when the crews, mechanics will have a chance to change tires and make changes to their trucks.
Take a look at the onboard cameras. This is the 66 of Tom Hubert, who has jumped into the Phelan-owned Carlin truck. Here's Keselowski with the Dodge. A lot of traffic in front of him.
Boris Sid at Federated Auto Parts. There we see Tony Roper in the Ice House truck. Stacey Compton, the RC Cola onboard camera. Tony Raines, the Pennzoil onboard camera. And Mike Bliss also has an onboard camera right in front of Tony. That's the Team ASC onboard.
I'll give you a look at the back of the front row as they warm them up. That is Harvick's machine. He's the Winston West point leader. And they come around looking for a start to kick things off for 225 laps. And on the gas and into one. Houston up alongside Mike Bliss. Now Bliss makes the outside work in a side-by-side battle for second. Cook checked out. Great start.
And Kevin Harvick, to start on the outside pole, is having some trouble. Bliss gets by on the outside, something we talked about. It'd be very difficult to do, the outside poles that are passed on the outside.
A year ago, the pole sitter didn't come up to speed. Ron Hornaday came from 4th to 1st and led every lap. Houston bulls his way past the inside on Harvick, and now here comes Biffle trying to do the same, and he'll make it work. Harvick's struggling.
Yes, he is. Now he's caught on the outside as Stacy Thompson gets on the inside.
Tony Raines next in line. You're riding with him as Harvick tries desperately to stop the damage, and there finally gets back down in line.
Meanwhile, Mike Bliss has caught the pole sitter, Terry Cook. And Bliss is outside of row 2, is looking, trying to get by Terry Cook. And here's what we're talking about, by patience. We know that Mike Bliss is a little bit faster now than Terry Cook, but you just can't go in there and start trying to make a hole that doesn't exist.
Terry Cook, the remarkable story of the last 3 races, with the lead from his first pole. Track record speed. Bliss beating on him, trying to push him out of the way. Cook says, I'm not having any of that. They try to do that to me at Sandusky Speedway my whole career, and I wouldn't move over for them either. Boy, Bliss.
And Bliss, he's right there. He's really pushing this thing.
Why did he want to force the issue early like that, Benny? I mean, that's not the patience you described.
Because he's so much faster. He's so much faster. Now he's got to run. No, but he just can't quite make it. Now here he's got it run. He's got a great run. This will be for the lead. And Corelli crashes off turn 4 hard. Also, Brian Repter's in the crash.
A true truck tangle early. We expected to see a lot of this. We managed to get in a few clean laps, and Cook came down just as Repner backed up and back right in front of him. Corelli has significantly shortened up the Remax truck, enough so that the body worker actually holding the right rear up off the racetrack, and the thing appears to be stuck there. So we'll have a bit of cleanup to do for Rick Corelli. Let's see if we can get an idea of how this all started. I don't think that piece of paper did it.
No, we see just some contact between Corelli and someone as they were racing side by side. And there we see Brian Repner. I don't know if he was the other truck involved with, or he was just, and right now they've actually stopped the field because Corelli and the wrecker are going to completely block the racetrack. So right now the field is stopped as you see him sitting there.
Here comes Corelli out of the truck, so that ambulance will be superfluous. They're taking no chances. They moved it up into position, but boy, a lot of frustration for this guy. Corelli, a long time since that win at Bristol on ESPN. Another one will not come today. We'll be right back. Well, I think we've set the tone. No, yeah, that was great. That was great. That was great. I hope you folks all enjoyed it. No, I'm the one who said it was going to be better than I expected. I'm an optimist.
Was it Repner and Corelli that made that contact?
I don't know who started it, Danny. I never.
Is that the only shot we have, Jill? They were Repner about back in front of the field, didn't he? Oh, now run it. They can't find any pieces of it.
We're back in Louisville, where Rick Corelli's accident with Brian Repner had temporarily blocked the straightaway. They've refired the trucks, and they're circulating under the caution as they attempt to clean up. Let's get more on Corelli's side of what happened here. Marty?
The last time you and I talked was Victory Lane, Colorado Springs. Unfortunately, what happened this time?
On the Remax Chevrolet, we were just out there buying time. I seen an opening on the outside. Got on the outside, sort of cleared him. I think the 26 truck, he hit me coming over the hill and just put me in the fence backwards. And it's unfortunate, you know. I mean, we're 10 laps into the race, just trying to find some time. But, I mean, the truck's wrecked pretty bad now. I mean, the back end's on the ground, so unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get back out.
Let's talk quickly about the track conditions that you've been out there. That turn 1, is it still holding up?
Yeah, actually, the truck's good. I mean, I just had a truck fast enough to go on the outside. I seen Hornaday get out there, so I stuck it out there, and it's stuck, actually. Just got a little, somebody gives you a little shove here, you're on the right rear all the time, and I tell you what, there's no place to go but in the fence.
Rick Corelli out of this one, guys.
A lot of frustration there when all of a sudden you realize that the track's better than you expected, the truck's better than you expected, and then bang.
And when as soon as you start trying to make something out of it, this is the result. You see what happened? Corelli coming off the corner just gets a bump from someone, and there he goes right straight backwards in the wall, and you've seen all the damage, and there is severe damage to that Remax Chevy.
So the cleanup continues here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Why don't we go ahead and slide in another commercial break here, and when we come back, we should be pretty close to the restart with Mike Bliss leading from the pole sitter, Terry Cook. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Marty was talking about there was the Winston West win.
Southwest Tour.
Southwest Tour win in Colorado.
Yeah.
I thought I had made a mistake. He has not won in a truck since Bristol.
That's correct.
That's actually a Remax challenge.
Wasn't a truck race. Bliss best. What was the first thing? Gotcha. Yes, that's it. There you go. Never having too much of that.
Where's the scoreboard? Oh, back there it is. What lap we on? 14?
Back in Louisville, the dog days of summer getting close to Labor Day weekend and Darlington. We've got the Southern 500 covered north, south, and sideways. Bud Cole qualifying 3 on Friday. And then the Duraloop Busch Grand National Series on Saturday. Happy hour will be tape delayed till 9 o'clock Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we come back with a full day of coverage, beginning with RTM today at noon. NASCAR today, the pre-race show. And the big run, 500 miles for $1 million. What a way to celebrate Labor Day. Getting about ready to go. Real quick, Marty, before we go green, what's up down there?
Well, Barry Dotson on top of the War Wagon. You're inside the middle of this track. Remember, we're turning 15-second laps. Last year, he fell off this thing. He got so dizzy. They were thinking about getting him a chair and a seat belt. They settled on a Gatorade container.
Careful, Barry. His driver, Mike Bliss, leading the show. His best finish at Louisville was 7th in 1995 in the trucks. He led 101 laps here in 96, but he is the track record holder in a USAC midget. Won the 30-lapper here back in 1994. The midgets, of course, the open-wheel division, were his route to NASCAR, and his goal, of course, is Winston Cup. A lot of talk that he'll go Busch racing next year. Green is in the air, and here we go on lap 17. Hornaday trying to make something happen on the outside, starting deep in the field.
And Hornaday's got a lot of smoke coming out of the back of that Napa Chevrolet. Looks to me like our points leader has, yes, a lot of smoke out of the back of the Chevrolet.
He's moved up to 12 going forward, but you're right. He moves up on the outside of Russell, one of the guys he's battling for the championship, and the 16 is looking a little blue in the back. Now, what you saw there, that puff that he kicked up, there's the smoke from the truck. That's not coming out the exhaust, though, is it, Ben?
No, it's not coming out the exhaust. It might be just a little leak someplace.
That's a jam up of real talent right there. Sauter in the 3, Crawford in the 14, the outside pole sitter in the Spears truck. Harvick having gone backward here. Definitely not having to handle. And that battle that you're watching is the tail end of the top 10. You're riding with Roper, who's moved up a spot from 8.
P.J. Sauter trying to take a look. Meanwhile, back up front, we see that both Andy Houston and Greg Biffle has been able to get by Terry Cook. Terry Cook now runs in 4th spot.
This is potential for excitement right here. Andy Houston, winner at Loudon. Biffle, the rookie point leader. Last time they ran this close together, I believe, would have been at Nashville. And
well, as a matter of fact, when Houston won the race at New Hampshire, Greg Biffle ran second to him. And on a pass on the last lap, as a matter of fact. So,
rising talent here, and Houston's definitely looking pretty good. For more on what's going on with Hornaday, let's check with Marty.
Well, talk to Fred Graves, the crew chief, and he says he's not reporting anything wrong with the truck. They think what might be the problem is either he's got a tire rubbing on the right side or it is a piece of rubber in the brake area. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and see if it gets worse.
Well, it's getting worse.
It is getting worse, and I would guess that it is a tire rubbing the sheet metal. That's what it certainly looks like, but you're right, it's not getting any better there. See, he gets on the inside of Joe Rudman.
Rudman just missed the corner. That's the top 3 in the points right there. Hornaday, the leader, and behind him comes Sprague, second in the championship battle. They both go by Rudman. And in the 43, Jimmy Hensley, winner at Nashville 2 weeks ago, says, I'll take advantage of Joe's mistake. And he picks up a position as well. 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th on the racetrack. Smoke continuing to emit from the point-leading number 16 of Ron Hornaday. Napa field summary taking you all the way back through the field. Parenthetical numbers on the right indicate starting positions today.
Lance Norrick is fun going off the first corner, second corner, but still no caution flag. Norrick gets the NHL truck back on the racetrack and going again, and there will be no caution flag. Never seen Norrick.
Way to go, buddy. We don't need cautions. We had a lot of caution here last year. A near record number of yellows. So far, this one's been comparatively clean. The one incident involving Pirelli being the difficulty at 30 laps.
And Brandon Spelling is taking his 11 truck behind the wall back in the garage here. Looks like he is finished for the day as we look back at the battle for second spot. We're riding on board with the leader, Mike Bliss. That's Andy Houston, second place. Greg Biffle's in third. And now we see Terry Cook is starting to close that distance between third and fourth.
Cook having regrouped a little bit here. Gary Showalter, the crew chief, on that truck. Part of the reason for the recent resurgence in the blue, white, and black machine. Boy, Houston's having so much fun. Traveling the circuit with his dad, Tommy, a legend in Busch racing. Having just a terrific year, winning a race as a rookie, racing Biffle for the rookie championship, the Cintas-sponsored affair. Life is very good for Andy.
It certainly is. And right now, I think Biffle is the leader in the rookie points by about 7. And it looks like they might be getting just a little bit closer to, and by the way, Boris said right in front of the leader has a flat right front tire and slowed right in front of the leader. There we see Boris get off the racetrack. That was close.
A lot of frustration there, too. Believe it or not, Boris, the road racer, loves Louisville.
That's what he said. I love this racetrack. I said, Boris, you're not supposed to say that.
You're the only guy here who says that.
That's right.
Marty's there.
And, well, Boris finished 9th here last year, but, boy, the right flat going front, he's going to lose at least 1, probably 2 laps, and he's back out.
And Ron Hornaday was just black flagged by NASCAR, I suppose because of the smoke.
Wow. That is potentially huge. The series point leader we mentioned at the top. He needs a win place.
And the caution's out.
Come on in, we're going to
Caution flag is out.
See where the smoke's coming from.
Oh, I see the
Oh, there you go. The 00. Kimmel got in trouble over on the back. Just at the same time, they black flagged Hornaday.
What a break for Hornaday. What a terrific break. Now he's able to go in, heave the black flag on the caution flag. There he goes in.
Thank you, Kimmel. We appreciate it. There will be breaks in your mailbox. I'll tell you what, that is a huge break for Hornaday, but that doesn't solve the problem. Marty?
Yeah, they're going right to work on the right rear, and they're pulling the right rear tire. I'm trying to peek up underneath, guys, and I don't know if they can tell what's going on. And they are frantically looking all the way up through the drivetrain. So they're not counting anything out. But this could be real trouble. In fact, yes, it's got to be something else because the right rear is going back on, and the hood of the car is going up.
You can hear what's up front.
Get right by the exhaust collector.
You can hear the crew talking. They now know the problem's up front.
Found it under here. Don't you the collector.
Guys, we'll keep you posted as soon as they know what they've got.
Yeah, we're listening to the radio, but I think they're as lost as we are.
Yeah, there's smoke coming from someplace there, and they're unable to find it.
Oh,
meanwhile, he's gone a lap down. It looks like he's going a couple of laps down to the leader.
The championship point leader with trouble of undetermined origin here in Louisville, Kentucky. That'll shove the points race into a real battle. We'll be right back.
I can add to that transmission thing. You see, here, to get final drive, the final drive that you need, which is a 7-to-1, you have to run the transmission in third gear. So that's why you have to have a cooler. You say, well, why would you have a cooler on the transmission? Because when you're running third gear, you're creating more heat in there, and that's why they have a cooler and lines on the transmission.
An afternoon of significant excitement thus far at Louisville Motor Speedway in Kentucky. The lead belongs to Mike Bliss. A problem in the drivetrain for the championship point leader, Ron Hornaday, who circulates here now at the back of the field. He has dropped to 28 in the lineup. Take a look at what this does to the points.
He goes right out the lead to second spot. 3 points behind Sprague, and Rutland would close in within 41 of the lead. So this would really tighten this thing up. But now, Hornaday, he is a lap truck. He'll have a chance to drive up beside Bliss and try his best to get a couple of laps back.
Marty, more on what's going on down there with Hornaday?
Yeah, they figured it out that it was the transmission line, so they managed to tighten it back up. It's not leaking, but boy, it's already done a ton of damage for them. Also, the 78 Randy Renfro came in. They simply made an adjustment. They took a little bit of bite out. It was too tight.
Transmission cooler, Benny, what's up with that?
Well, you see, most racetracks, you just put it in high gear. You don't need a cooler. But this racetrack at Louisville Motor Speedway, to get the final drive that you need, which is about a 7-to-1, you have to go through the transmission. You have to run this race in third gear.
27, 2 laps down. We'll get them back. Don't worry, buddy. We'll get you back up there next to the leaders, and we'll go.
See, there you go. 2 laps down, 27th, and they'll get one on back. So, Hornaday pitted too early. The pit road was not open. He pitted too early, so he's now got to start at the back of the pack. Can't close up on the leader. This caution flag, but wait till the next caution flag.
Hornaday is not having a great day. But anyway, they run in third gear. That's why they got to have a cooler. The cooler leaks. That's why he's in the back.
That's why they got lines off the transmission to a cooler, because running in third gear generates more heat. So therefore the cooler.
Gotcha. Normally, he would be able to move up alongside the leader for the restart, but because he pitted too early, he cannot do that. He pitted when the caution came out. The caution came out for Kimmel a half lap after they had shown Hornaday the black flag. Quite a sequence of events. Now that's over. We're back to green. Here comes Bliss, your leader, with the number 90 of Lance Norton trying to take a lap back and not succeeding in doing that. Then comes the second place truck of Andy Houston. Biffle is third. Fourth is Cook. Raines, Compton, Roper, Sauter, Crawford, and Sprague round out the top 10.
Tell you what, Lance Norton's got a pretty good truck as he tries so hard to catch that 2 truck. It looks like he might not be quite as good as Bliss. Had to spin it around to get the handling sorted out. A provisional starting spot for Norton. Put him in the back. Then he spun it. Then put him a lap down. But you're right. He's holding his own. I suspect Andy Houston will come calling pretty quickly here. And he'll be saying, when he gets there, he'll be saying, knock, knock on the door.
And Benny will be saying, patience. Patience is the key.
Yes.
Biffle sitting back there in third, and he's being patient. He's not come up to challenge Houston in any significant way.
You see Terry Cook gets by the lap truck of Brian Repner. That's Repner in 26. And this is Tony Raines, the Pennzoil onboard camera. If we look back at Stacy Compton, 2-time winner this year in the RC Cola truck.
Legendary road racer that he is, Stacy Compton. You talk about patience. He used it last week. Kept his head about it, watched others crash and blow up, and won the road race at Topeka. Congratulations, Stacy. You see, he's a big star there. Got the RC stars all over the front of the truck.
Yes.
That deal's really come together for him this year, and he has responded, as they say. He's got 2 victories, and we're looking for a big announcement from that team here in the next week or 2. Cook chased by Raines. A couple of the rising stars of the truck division. Rover behind Compton in the 55, and then Jay Sauter. Currently sitting in 8th spot.
Now then, we see that Lance Norton was not able to keep up with that pace as we got another spinner off that second corner. And so far, no caution flag. It's the Tom Hubert that has spun as he backs up the bank, trying to get the truck going in the right direction.
Got himself up on the hill so he had room to make the turn without turning into traffic, because you can see from his onboard camera, you don't want to be merging right there when those guys are coming. Whoa! So says Bliss. Bliss is gone. He's checked.
This is. And Hornaday just about spun this last time on the backstretch, but looks like the oil leak has been repaired on Hornaday's truck. So now the only problem he has, he's a couple laps down. Now we see Houston has been able to get by Lance Norton. It's up to Biffle now to try to get by.
Norton's doing a pretty good job of holding his own in the lap truck as the rest of them come single filing around. There's the gap back to second place. Andy Houston. And we'll send our good wishes, well wishes out to Mike Addington, the owner of that truck. He was riding his motorcycle, car pulled out in front of him, and he's doing a little sheet time to pay for that.
Wow. I don't know about that.
Yeah, they have made the commitment, though, that they're still looking for a sponsor, but they made the commitment they're coming back next year with the Houston family, sponsor or no. Good for you, Mike.
Meanwhile, Biffle is trying to get by on the outside of Norrick and is able to do it. Now Terry Cook has that job. And we can see just what I'm talking about. You can see how patient you have to be, because Terry Cook, as he goes up there, he's leaving that inside open for Tony Raines. You see Roper on the inside on the losing positions. But meanwhile, both these trucks now caught behind Lance Norrick.
You see the guys in front pulling away, but you got to know if it's not, the pass isn't there, you can't force the issue. If you do, you're going to end up in that concrete wall. I think everybody's shown remarkable restraint thus far today, Benny. They must have listened to your stand-up at the top of the show.
So far, it has been great. These fellows are really showing some patience.
And knock a little wood, the racetrack's hanging together pretty well, too. We've had cloud cover all day. That helped. Yesterday, with bright sunshine, the track temperature was almost 150 degrees, and that's when we started having trouble with breakup. Approaching the 60-lap mark, we'll take you through the Napa Field summary and see who's on the move, if anybody. Sprague has picked up 3 spots, important in terms of his championship pursuit. Scott Walters is the local boy. He cut his racing teeth on this track. Sawinski's gone forward. Keselowski moved up 5 spots, and then we get to the truck to lap or more down. And virtually all of those trucks have been in the pits. Sperling, the only dropout of the event thus far.
And we still see Terry Cook following Lance Norrick. Once again, it's patience. He's afraid to go outside, afraid he's going to leave that spot open for the other trucks. There we see Bliss is putting some distance on the field as we see Tommy Hubert up there in the Carlin truck trying to get his lap back. How many laps down is he? 1 or 2 down.
He wants to get 1 right here if he can. That's a pretty good truck, it appears, because Bliss is so much faster than second place. And Hubert held with him here for what's it been, 10, 12 laps now, I guess, since he spun it around.
And you can listen to the onboard and tell that they're off the accelerator a great deal around this racetrack. And there we see Bliss on the inside of Randy Renfro. That's Renfro in the 78, the MCI truck.
Renfro struggling a little bit here today. Had to make that pit stop early that hampered him. Meanwhile, heavy hitters in this group right here. The 55 of Roper sits in 6th spot, pursued by the championship point leader, Jack Sprague. Sprague has struggled a bit of late. He has 50 top 5 finishes in his career. Got another one last week on the road course out in Kansas, but has also had a couple of failures in recent run of 4 or 5 races that have cost him dearly in terms of the championship. He comes here today, and it's Hornaday's turn to have trouble. And as a result, Sprague, if they drop the rag now, would be your championship point leader.
And you see that Lance Norrick has finally relinquished that position to the Terry Cook truck. And Cook now sets off after Greg Biffle, followed by Tony Raines. And there we see Lance Norrick, and now he has Tony Roper, the 55, and Rick Crawford. And there we see Terry Cook and Tony Raines. And there's Biffle right in front of them. That's the battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
So they closed that up real fast once Norrick got out of the way, indicating that both Cook and Raines here have pretty good trucks. Cook, the winner at Flemington. Raines, winner of 2 in a row in the past 2 seasons at I-70 Speedway in Waco, Missouri. Rising stars in NASCAR.
I think all 3 of those truck drivers there have a very bright future in this business.
Including in that count, of course, Biffle, who's just in front of him. There's your leader, Bliss. He's going to have a ton of traffic to deal with. Meanwhile, the 66 of Hubert continuing to hang right on to Bliss. He said, hey, if I can run with a leader all day, I'm going to do all right. Hubert 2 laps down as a result of the spin is 25th in the running order as Bliss comes up to try to put a lap on Keselowski. We won't embarrass him. Let's take the commercial break. Yeah, I appreciate that because I forgot. I told you this was going to be better than we expected. I did. Now, did I not say that? Benny, didn't I say that?
Yes, he did.
No, Jill, mean, sarcastic. As soon as Bliss wrecks, this will be a good race. Houston has left Biffle behind.
Sure has.
Yeah, Houston's your story.
Oops.
Sounds correct. No. Nice save, Boris.
Oops. Clear. He hit the wall down there. Yellow's out. Give the 66s back if you want to. Give him nothing. Nothing. Back it down, Mikey. Back it down. Right.
The right front tire suddenly went flat on Kimmel's truck.
Caution waves for the third time at Louisville, and it's one of the local boys as brought out the caution here. Bill Kimmel will climb out after hitting the wall pretty hard up there with that right front.
He went down to turn one, and for some reason the right front tire just lost air, and in the wall he goes. So this happens right there. Watches this truck just straight in the wall.
Man.
Something happened to the right front. Don't know why the air left.
Won't turn, boom. Bill Kimmel, 5 feature victories on this racetrack this year. In the late models, he's the current leader for the track championship, won the championship in 1997 and was 6th in the Blue Ridge region for the Winston Racing Series. And he's what, Frank's brother?
Frank Kimmel,
right?
who's the leader of the ARCA point standings. This is actually Bill Kimmel Jr. I raced with his dad back in ARCA in the 60s.
Raced with all these guys.
I know.
Unbelievable to believe. You knew half the grandstand. Tell me stories about the year you thought you won Daytona. It's fun being up here with you. So we're under caution for the third time. We had expected that it might perhaps be worse than that. And so far, knock on wood, we've had a decent race. Bliss has dominated, but there's been great competition, particularly just before we went to that caution. For the 4th spot, Cook trying to hold off Rain, Sauter, Compton, and the rest of the Army. Houston, just before this caution, had run Bliss down in traffic and walked away from Biffle. So it'll be interesting to see on the restart how that unfolds. That Carlin truck between Mike Bliss and the onboard of Keselowski here. The 66 truck now being driven by Tom Hubert in a driver change a week ago. And Hubert, though he spun, has been as quick as the leader. These are the guys in the back of the field, the numbers at the right indicating starting position, so you can see who's going forward and who's not. The big story, of course, is Hornaday, who's a couple of laps down with a mechanical problem.
But on this restart, that's coming up, when they give the signal 1 to go, Hornaday will be able to close up right beside of Mike Bliss. Well, there might be some lap trucks in between he and Bliss, but he'll be pretty close to the leader.
Move up the racetrack now, Mikey, when you get over there. So they're brooming it off for you like you asked.
There's Eddie Thrapp telling Mike Bliss that just move up the racetrack because they're sweeping the track down there, so as he asked him to do.
Using the opportunity here of the caution flag to clear some of the marbles there in turn 1 where they've had that little pavement breakup problem. Marty, a little more on what's going on with Bliss.
Well, there's some irony here, guys. When you look at our first 2 trucks, Mike Bliss made it known this week that he is going to be leaving the team, a mutual agreement decision between the 2. And you had already mentioned that Andy Houston and that team will come back next year, even though they don't have a sponsor. Now, Bliss does not know what he's going to do right now. He is looking at several Busch opportunities, and it is also a possibility that Barry Dotson has had a couple of offers also, although he would not elaborate on what those offers were. He said, I am not going back to Winston Cup, though, guys.
And if you want to complete the rumor cycle here, there's also talk that Jimmy Smith will go field a Busch team next year, that whole operation may break up and go different directions. But let me underline the term rumor. Bliss has confirmed that he's going to be departing, and the rest of that is not yet confirmed. So as the trucks continue to circulate here under the caution, let's take one more look at how this happened, and we'll do this from the onboard camera of Tom Hubert.
And we see right in front of the leader, Bill Kimmel goes down the corner, and once again, the right front tire goes flat, in the wall he goes. Now watch, if we follow that, we'll see Refner get one of his laps back. Hubert in the 66 get one of his laps back. He was 2 down. As the leader, Bliss, came back around the start-finish line, Keselowski and Hubert was able to get by him and get a lap back. Keselowski now back in the lead lap, and Hubert now just 1 down.
And as we've noted repeatedly, Hubert's got a good truck there, so he may be able to work his way back up if he uses sufficient patience and gain some of those positions back. Pretty good crowd here, man. There are not many empty seats at Louisville Motor Speedway. It's turned out to be a very pleasant day here. The overcast keeping the temperature down and the fans turning out en masse at Andy Vertree's, what we decide this is, 7/16 mile oval. My favorite question when we come to Louisville is how many corners are there in this joint? I've had answers ranging from 1 to 7. We'll be back with more right after this. I exaggerated. Nobody's ever told me 7.
They told you 5, though.
6. 6. Ruttman said 6.
Who's backfiring down there?
I don't know what that was. Yes, ma'am. Where did I get my... We're back. It's the Kroger 225, Louisville Motor Speedway, our venue for live motorsports here on ESPN. Mike Bliss, dominant thus far in this Kroger 225. He appears to have had the best truck all day thus far. He's a veteran, of course, of the USAC Open Wheel Rank, and we're taking our Thunder Show to Terre Haute on Wednesday for coverage of the 46th run of the Hut 100. What a great race. 33 midgets lined up on a dirt half mile. They call it the action track. You tune in 9 o'clock Eastern on Wednesday, and you will see abundant action. That's going to be a good one. ESPN 2 Thunder coming up on Wednesday night. We're live from Terre Haute, Indiana. We've had Keselowski in the pits. We went to a commercial break there a bit ago with him about to be lapped, but then the caution came out. He apparently has overheated the truck a little bit and is just now moving back out. Let's go to Marty.
Well, guys, you mentioned a little earlier about track temperatures yesterday up towards 150. Right now, track temperature is 116 degrees. But a radio report that we just picked up from Rick Crawford's team, he says there is a hole right on the start-finish line that he is hitting every time by. So we'll have to keep our eyes out.
Well, this time he'll hit it in speed because Chris Morgan has put the green back in the air, and we go again on lap 89. Raines trying to go around the outside.
And Hubert and the 3 of Jay Sauter make some contact as Sauter tries to get around Hubert in the 66. Still hasn't been able to do it.
Forrest set stuck on the outside. The 88 is Cook, who was your pole sitter, and that's Raines right behind him. Terry slides up the hill, and Raines goes underneath him to take a spot. That's 4. Cook's had his hands full, dominated in qualifying. He was about 18th in practice yesterday. Came back to claim the pole after telling me that it was the most important qualifying session of the year because of the nature of this racetrack.
Now we're seeing Hornaday.
Backwards.
Hornaday has been able to get by Biffle. Biffle's right up on the back bumper of Houston now. We watch Hornaday as he tries to go up and catch the 60 truck. Meanwhile,
joined us. He's 2 laps down.
Meanwhile, Bliss has been able to pull away from these guys by a pretty good distance because of lap traffic. But here goes Hornaday, and Houston does not give him much resistance.
I wouldn't either. A man in a hurry. Number 16, Ron Hornaday, with a leak from an oil cooler, transmission cooler line. got him the black flag. By the time they got it fixed, he was 2 laps down and had to start at the back of the field on the subsequent restart. Now, he's knifing his way back through the traffic, trying to get to Bliss to get one of his laps back.
Meanwhile, Tony Raines has closed up right on the back bumper of Lance Norrick. Norrick, once again, is the lap truck. The truck in front of Norrick, Biffle, is the position that Tony Raines is going after, and that's third. Look at Kevin Harvick, or that's Terry Cook back and forth.
Yeah, Harvick's kind of disappeared from the radar screen. Sat on the outside pole, but then the truck went south on him. Apparent big-time handling problems. He's gone to 21st. They just missed it a mile. And they won't get the halftime break to fix it here. Instead, in this 225-lapper on the 7/16 mile oval, they will take a 3-lap competition caution at lap 114. We're getting close to that. We're about 17 laps away. They'll run 3 laps that don't count. With the pace truck leading the way, they can go to the pits, sort them out, and then make the adjustments on the truck and send it back out for a restart. So as the action continues here, we're getting close to that midway break. And so far, I would give their track repair attempts in turn 1 pretty good marks. With the cooperation of the weather, the track is hanging together a lot better than a lot of people expected that it might.
I think the weather is a critical thing, because I think someone said at just about race time today, track temperature was 110 or 15 degrees, about 30, 40 degrees cooler than yesterday afternoon. Here's a battle for the 4th spot, 3rd spot actually, between Biffle and Raines.
Raines has caught him. Now comes that patience issue.
13 laps to go.
13 laps to the halfway break.
I've just been given a note, Benny, that they are going to change that procedure, and it relates to the track issue. They are going to red flag the race in 13 laps, and will then do a track cleanup. Here's that position fight.
And we see that Tony Raines takes a spot away. And we see Norrick spin coming off the corner, and the caution flag is out.
Barely backed her into the wall. Norrick was involved there in that scrap among the top 5. He was the lap truck, and perhaps Patience ran thin behind him, so Norrick, for the 2nd time, finds himself facing the wrong way.
And a little bit of damage to the back of that Dodge this time.
Yeah, the first time he got her looped without hitting anything and was able to get right back out there. Hornaday
did not get that lap back. He tried to chase Bliss down and was not able to do it. So, but now he will be the next truck behind Bliss, and there will be another caution flag in just a few laps. So if he can get by the leader, he will get one of those laps back.
And so the master of the restart, Ron Hornaday, faces one of the most important restarts for him of the season thus far. Here's what happened to Lance Norrick.
Goes in the corner. I can't tell if there's any contact between he and Hubert or not, but all of a sudden the Dodge goes around, backs in the fence, and that will have to bring the caution out to slow these cars down so he can continue on. That's not a good spot to be sitting.
That's an easy place to have that sort of incident occur. Dramatic revisions in this racetrack, as Benny mentioned at the top of the show. They repaved the entire track. They took what they called a jump out in the middle of, well, I guess the straightaway going into what would traditionally be turn 4. It used to be a big elevation change. They flattened that out, repaved the thing all the way around. But in turn 1, there was one last little bump, and when they ground that down and tried to fix it, wouldn't you know it, that's become the trouble spot here today. Mike Bliss leads. We're going to take a commercial break under this caution, approaching what is now going to be a mid-race break.
Well, we've lost a lot of races because we've got loose from half on. Let's just go, let's go in between, you know, like maybe just a round and a half or something like that. Let's just make some kind of a change that we did an effort. That'd be a 5. That'd be a 5 then.
Harvick was called in for 35.
Spotter said, are you going to give it to us or not? Said he's pushing the cam to try not to get into him. pretty tight in that one corner.
What do you say? They're not going to give it
Yeah,
to him?
because going into turn 2 up high is nasty.
What's the deal
right
on the
now.
halfway, Kenny?
Inside there.
You mean?
Far off the base.
Hornaday just giving him a little reminder of how good he could be on a restart.
He'll be in quick. They're behind him. All clear. Clear. Go, Cat, go.
Second place has gone to Reigns.
We just got back to green, and doggone if Ron Hornaday didn't get around Mike Bliss on the restart. Bliss didn't elect to contest that very much.
That's a news flash, isn't it? Ron Hornaday was able to get by on a restart.
Bulletin America, check it out. Bliss let him in, and now is dogging him as they approach the midway. What will be a break? It was not intended to be. There's, by the way, a change in second spot, and this also occurred on the restart. Reigns was able to get around Houston, and now they both go by the lap number 78 truck of Randy Renfro. Renfro spun early, or actually I guess had to pit early and went a lap down. So that's second. Looking back at third right there. They are going to red flag the race in about 10 laps. They'll sweep the track. It'll constitute what may be the last mid-race break in the history of the Truck Series. They've gone to active pit stops. It's improved the quality of the competition. It's made for some great races of late. We saw it the first time in Indianapolis, and it was a knockout race. So that's going to be a permanent change in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for years to come. And Benny, I think everybody pretty much agrees it's a change for the better.
Yes, it is. And the caution flag gets out for the halfway break, and Ron Hornaday will get one of those laps back. There we see Chris Morgan waving that yellow.
Yeah, they should pick us up.
Here comes the pace truck out to pick
Say
up
it
the
again,
leader.
Barry. They should pick, they picked us up. Somebody help me down here.
Somebody help him down. That's trouble getting old, isn't it, Dave?
I know that feeling. Mike Bliss will lead him to halfway. The red flag coming out. They'll sweep the racetrack, adjust the trucks. Bliss says, let's loosen it up a little bit, but not too much. We'll be right back. It's Tina Buck, right? That was
it Trina, wasn't it?
Tina or Trina? I think you're right. It's
Trina.
I wrote that down, and I'm doggone if I can find where I wrote it. Trina Buck. And her husband's name is...
Wasn't it Ernie?
Ernie Buck. And the ARCA... Right, got it. And the ARCA driver...
Was it Ernie? It was her husband, Ernie?
Ernie, yeah.
Chad Coleman.
Chad
Coleman.
Coleman.
What did who stop talking to Hornaday?
Well, we're back at Louisville Motor Speedway and waiting for the trucks to pull in for this now what is going to be a full stop under red conditions so that they can attend to the track out on the turn 1 area. Interestingly enough, talked to Andy Houston's team. They're going to put a rubber in the right front. And on Bliss's team, they were talking about putting a turn and a half in, but it looks like now they're going to go with just air pressures. And we're going to hope to be able to jump in here maybe and get in with Mike, although they've got the window net tied up pretty tight. May not be able to get the microphone in there with him. But let's go on back to the 19 and see if we can talk to Tony Raines, because he's right next door to us, and I can squeeze this microphone in here. Since they've gone to the red, Tony, let's get a chance to talk. Talk a little bit for me on the track conditions.
Well, it's not getting any better, let's put it that way. But since all y'all freight forward's not running too bad, we're a little bit loose. We're going to make a small adjustment because the track's going to change, obviously, and we're just going to hope for the best.
Well, you managed to get around Houston on that restart, so you moved into second place. Obviously, the truck's got to be running pretty doggone good.
Well, it's not running too bad. He actually missed a shift, so we got a little bit of a break there. But, you know, we're running pretty decent times. It's going to be hard to tell, you know. The track's going to change some more. Some guys are going to make some adjustments here, make their trucks better. Some may go the wrong way. Hopefully we don't.
All right, let's make our way up to the other end of pit lane here, just 3 pits up, and see if we can get a word in with Andy Houston. We'll swing back and, well, radio's in there, so come with me and stay with me, because we'll jump in here as they're conversing with Barry Dotson and Mike Bliss.
We don't want to do a whole lot. I think the air pressure, let me think about it, maybe half the track mark. 5 minutes. Yeah.
Let me just jump in here real quick with Mike. Mike, it looks like the truck, whenever you got the open track, you can just go.
Yeah, I'll tell you, this ASC Ford's strong today. You know, we've lost a lot of races with this truck and led a lot of races with this truck, so we're going to play a mind game on this truck today and not tell it that we're halfway on. You know, this is the start of another race.
All right, we'll let them get back to it. Guys, I'm going to go check on those track conditions.
Indecision on the part of Barry Dotson, or look at it the other way. We got 5 minutes. We're not going to rush that decision.
That's right.
Here's how the new breed, the first-time winners, are running here today. Cook in 5th and Houston in 3rd. The best of the bunch among drivers who have scored their first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series win during this 1998 season. 10 different winners. It's been very competitive. Some of those guys struggling today.
Well, they are, but those 5 guys that have won this year from 11th forward, that's pretty doggone good, and tell you that they are a little bit patient. And in long races, like any NASCAR Touring division, it does take a tremendous amount of patience at any racetrack, not just Louisville.
Let's make the point, too, that that we're about to start a brand new race. Those mid-race changes are critically important, and it really puts the pressure on when you've got an unpredictable racetrack like this one has been this weekend, hoping that you made the right move to have the right truck at the end of the race when it matters most. We'll be right back. Jill, I missed that. I'm sorry. I was... yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I hope so. Purdue. Purdue meets USC for the first time in 22 years. And, of course, Benny, we all remember what happened the last time in that.
No, I don't. What happened?
I won't put you on the spot. Why is everybody looking at us all of a sudden?
Mm.
Easy. Okay.
Hey, Marty, if Bliss wins this thing, just tell him that Benny said for his 2 cents worth, we should have stayed. Okay?
Okay. Back at Louisville Motor Speedway, we're down here in turn 1 where the crews are doing a lot of work, and you see where the track is tearing up a little bit. Now that is concrete dust actual concrete cement that if you put the water to it, it would harden. Obviously, that's not going to be the case, but that helps give it some consistency. It's very tacky down here, getting a lot of grip, and you can see how much damage it's doing as we walk on the way back, and it's not looking real good. In fact, this area that I'm in right now, guys, I mean, it is really chewing up bad, and the guys were mentioning that it's going to get worse before it unfortunately gets better.
So that's the mid-race report on the track conditions. The sweeper up top trying to keep some of the stuff that's coming up off the racetrack clean to let them run up around it a little bit. Here's your Dodge race recap. Bliss has been the leader virtually all the way, 106-114, with only one lead change as he took the advantage from the pole sitter, Terry Cook. 4 cautions, not as many as we expected, I think, Danny, the average speed down. But all in all, I think it's been better than a lot of us thought it might be today.
Yes, it has. And we see Bliss and Terry Cook, the leader, led the first 8 laps. We see the 88 car on our screen. We did see him a moment ago. Out of the race, see Brandon Spelling, Rick Corelli that crashed early on, and and Bill Kimmel. The right front tire went flat, and he hit the wall in turn 1, so he's out of the race.
This is exciting. Purdue versus USC. These two teams have not met in 22 years. And we all remember what happened the last time they got together on the old gridiron. That'll be your Pigskin Classic tomorrow live at 2:30 Eastern. I shouldn't make fun of this stuff. That's on ABC, folks. That is big-time television sports right there. So be sure and tune in. Purdue versus USC in college football action coming up on ABC Sports.
What happened?
Don't do that. Don't do that. I have no idea. I was a mere child. I was in grade school. Here's your full field rundown. Bliss from 4th, showing the way halfway through the Kroger 225 here at Louisville, Kentucky. Pretty much the guys who started at the front are staying at the front. Cook's lost 5 spots. Nobody really making a huge move forward. Tolsma's up 10 spots from 23rd. That's the best in the bunch in terms of going forward. Sawinski's picked up 8 positions. Barfield, 8 spots. Harvick has gone the wrong way for sure from the outside pole to 23rd. And you saw Hornaday getting one of his 2 laps back. Gets one more back in the second half, and all of a sudden, well, you're going to have to stick around and watch it here on ESPN, folks. We'll be right back after the commercial. It will be a big-time dust storm in turn 1 on this restart. Gordon won $1 million at Indy, right? Which did one winner of that.
$1.6 million. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the. No. Back that camera up. Now, back, swing around to the right. The other way. There. Look at the concrete.
Man.
No, not really.
NASCAR Winston Cup racing next weekend. There's the $1 million guy. Wait a minute. There's a guy who could win. Wait a minute. Look at all these stars going to Darlington. Yeah, that's right. There's $1 million up for the Pepsi Southern 500. Jeff Gordon won $1 million there last year. They've changed that program around. He's since won $1 million at Indianapolis. And he and 4 other guys are going to try to win $1 million in the No Bull 5 at Darlington next weekend. There they are. I tell you what, Benny, that sure pumps up the competition.
I'm telling you, Earnhardt, Gordon, Labonte, Martin, and Skinner. And let's face it, any of those guys could, in fact, win. Skinner's never won a race, so it'd be interesting if he won his first one at Darlington and picked up that $1 million.
$1 million for your first victory, that would be bad. I'll tell you what, the way McReynolds has got that team turned around here of late, that could very well happen. Skinner likes that racetrack. He's healthy again. Gordon, by the way, is on the pole. for tomorrow's Winston Cup race, and I guess that doesn't come as a big surprise given the role that they have been on of late. But gosh, he was just a regular race driver last week, merely a top 5 finish at Bristol, proving his mortality after winning 4 in a row. So Winston Cup action coming up tomorrow, the second half of the truck race coming up here, and Marty's got an update on who else did what during the break. Marty?
Well, let's give you the final report on the Mike Bliss car, because it was an adjustment in air pressure they ended up going with. Barry Dawson said, let's take a pound out of the right rear, put it over or into the left rear, and then on the 19 car, they were a little loose. We already talked to them about the changes that they were going to make. On the Greg Biffle car, we told you about Andy Houston, they put a rubber in the right front. On Biffle's car, they did a little bit of air pressure. He was a little bit loose. They wanted to tighten him up a bit. The other end of the spectrum, on the 88 truck, Terry Cook, he is very, very tight. He was pushing like crazy. So they are trying to free him up, and they made a big adjustment in the air pressures. That's the top 5, guys.
All right, we appreciate that. We send our condolences out this weekend to the family of Trina Buck, registrar for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Her husband, Ernie, drives the Pace truck, and Ernie's not here this weekend. Her funeral service is being held. Trina passed away this week. And Chad Coleman, ARCA driver, died in a crash last night at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our sympathies go to their families as we prepare for the restart here. Big crowd gathered to watch the trucks tear up Louisville Motor Speedway, literally. Turn 1 coming apart a little bit, and we'll have something of a dust storm when they throw that green back in the air to decide this during the second half. The field forming up. Hornaday in an interesting situation here. A lap down. We'll try to get that lap back and get himself back into contention in terms of points. Mike Bliss, dominant thus far. That has been the case on a couple of occasions here, but his best finish at this racetrack is 7. Led 101 laps. Almost half the race here in 1996, but couldn't pay it off.
There's a signal being given, 1 lap to go. And we saw that oil draw on the front stretch a moment ago. That's where Rick Corelli, where he backed the truck into the wall. He lost some gasoline. I'm not sure that gasoline did not cut a hole in the asphalt there, because they keep putting some oil dry on that spot. And I heard someone say about something about hitting a hole on the front stretch, and I guess that's where we're talking about.
Yeah, you're right. That's exactly where Corelli was sitting, so maybe there is a connection there.
They were just left the flagman. There's the oil dry that I'm talking about. There we go. Now, I'm not sure that there's not a small hole coming in the racetrack right there.
That was Crawford, I think, who had mentioned that he kept hitting that same spot every time. So we should see the pace truck pull down in a lap here as we get set for the restart. Mike Dolan has led his fair share of laps through 5 cautions here today. Sprague and Hornaday will be side by side on the restart, or at least for the moment. Jack Sprague struggling of late in terms of the championship points, but did get his 50th top 5 last week, and it was his first top 5 in his last 4 starts. So for Sprague, he hopes that'll be a turnaround. With Hornaday having trouble here today, it could be an opportunity for Sprague, although on the racetrack, Jack is only 10th this afternoon, and you can see how far back he is in the restart line.
Well, the pace truck is full off the track. Field is ready. Here comes Bliss off the corner. Accelerate.
Foul by clear.
Back at it for the second half at Louisville Motor Speedway. 110 to go as Bliss gets the great drop on Raines and puts the lap truck between himself and the second place man. Here come the rest of them. Hornaday trying to charge his way through. Sprague takes the outside. A little contact between Hornaday and Sprague for a moment. The 99 of Joe Rutman, the third, more contact. Sprague does a whole lap sideways. Look out.
Yes, he does. I tell you what, he's on the inside, and the truck's just going by. There goes Hornaday on the inside of the Lance Noack truck.
Hornaday's going to have the best of that while Bliss out front stabilizes the lead. Raines has not been able to get up around Renfro, the lap truck. So Sprague has dropped from view in terms of Hornaday and Rutman. But remember, Rutman is on the lead lap, sitting in 10th spot, while Hornaday is a lap down in 23rd.
Tolsman trying to look on the inside of Joe Rubbin. That's Tolsman, the 61 truck.
Crawford in front of this group. Mike Wallace behind them. And Sprague dropped back a little bit after all that contact and now sits in 13th spot. He got beat up pretty good that lap.
Tony Roper, the Ice House truck, and Rick Crawford, that's about up at 8th spot, 8th and 9th. See Hornaday back there, and Crawford's going to try to go on the outside. No, that must be a fake.
Be interesting to see if Roper, the son of USAC stock car champ Dean Roper, can make a breakthrough win here and join the group, as Crawford has already done that this year.
And right in front of him, Stacy Compton lost a couple of spots, was about to lose a spot as Terry Cook. I guess that's Compton trying to go on the outside, isn't it? Stacy Compton trying to make a pass on the outside. Is it going to work? I don't think so.
Well, who's Roper going to go with? Nah, it didn't work. So he's back down in line, and Roper says that's kind of the way I thought that was going to work. Hornaday is impatient behind them, showing the fender first on the outside, then on the inside, looking for a way through, saying, boys, I'm in a hurry here.
And
meanwhile,
Rudman gets by Crawford. Now Crawford is hung on the outside, and here comes Tolsma as well. If you get hung on the outside, it's just so hard to get back inside. And we see Crawford getting a loose up off the corner and lose 2 more spots, 3 spots.
He's going to go back a long way before he's able to stop the bleeding there. Hornaday comes up to give Roper notice that it's time to make a move. Gets up alongside. Not quite. Roper makes the move to the Ice House truck. Tom Gloy's number 55. Currently having a pretty good run. He's in 8th spot, has stayed in the top 10 all afternoon. Rutman from 11th to 9th. We'll try to put a move on him here. Tolsma's march continues. He started 23rd and is now inside the top 10 in the taupe truck. The IWX Freightlines. The color is taupe. I didn't realize that until Indianapolis. Hornaday looked like he had something going there for a little bit, but now seems to have kind of leveled off and is being patient, as Benny would say.
That's what it's going to have to do. And there we see Biffle up behind the 44 truck. And Boris said, no, and there's some contact between Harvick, some more contact. Now Harvick's trying to get on the inside of Biffle. He will. Now Saunders, this is not a battle for position, but Sauter, it is a battle for a spot. And we've got a spin as Butch Miller spins down the front straightaway.
And Harvick may have gotten a whole lot better truck after the second half. He got pretty racy there after losing 20 spots in the first half. Butch Miller spinning the 18 here, putting us under caution for the 6th time this afternoon, a far cry from the 13 that we saw the last time they raced this place. We're at lap 131, and Hornaday was not successful in picking up that position as we take another look at how Butch got turned around the wrong way.
Yeah, we see some contact between he and the Lonnie Rush truck, it looked like. And he stops, and that was all we saw was just going around, so no contact with the outside retaining wall. Check and see, is there contact? No, there isn't.
I don't think so.
No, there isn't. I spoke incorrectly there, Dave. There was no contact. Yeah. There was no contact.
Yeah. Lonnie was down inside of him. Butch came up off the corner and just lost the back. Got way loose, spun it around, but did not hit anything. He was far enough off the corner that he didn't catch the wall. And so he will rejoin the fray here without losing a lap, I believe. 23rd in the running order as we take the commercial break here. This will give Raines the opportunity, close it back up on the tailgate of the race long leader, Mike Bliss. Be right back.
I think Jay Sauter's got a pretty good truck now. What happened is Butch got that stuff, that loose stuff up there. I think those horses are going to be in trouble.
I think we'll get, and we got lap 132. I think the Kubota is faster than that other sweeper. You might want to document out. They're going to hit head on. That'll be good. Louisville Motor Speedway on Saturday afternoon. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, 133 laps into the 225 that make up the Kroger 225 here this afternoon. A little less than a half-mile bull ring, D-shaped affair. That's the backstretch you're looking at, which is actually a big corner. You turn left the whole way around. And, man, you never really get to use the horsepower here. I would think this is a difficult and perhaps frustrating racetrack to drive.
Yeah, it would be, because some teams even use smaller carburetors, trying to detune the engines so it wouldn't have so much horsepower. Well, see, Ron Hornaday is in the pit as he's trying to leave, as the signal's being given, one more to go.
Wow, Marty, what's up with that?
Well, he surprised all of us. We were about 6 pits away, and Fred Graves put a turtle wedge in the left rear. So he's back out.
Hornaday has been 2 laps down.
He's now 1 down.
Now 1 down. I thought maybe we could pick up more of that radio chat there, but he's going to the back of the field, so his restart prowess will not enable him to get up alongside Bliss and try to take a lap back here. Hornaday's going to be facing a lot of traffic when they put the green back in the air, and that'll be just a half a lap from now. It's going to be interesting to see if Tony Raines might have something for the leader, Bliss. As they work the traffic prior to that last caution, Raines was closing down the interval on Mike Bliss and had done so pretty substantially. Houston's had a good run here. He's been a solid third all day. Biffle and Sauter rounding out the top 5. Sauter's truck seems to have gotten better after the break. Green is in the air, and we're back underway.
Clear.
Once again, Bliss is able to put the lap truck of Renfro between himself and his challenger, Tony Raines. And that's big. Raines has the lap Harvick behind him.
Lance Norrick just spun or went off course down in turn 1, will not bring out the caution flag as trucks come around once again, completing another lap.
Norrick has previous damage from an incident. It is 25th, 2 laps down. As we go back up front, Renfro seems able to run something approximating the leader's speed, and that's making it difficult for Raines, although Houston has a similar problem with Harvick in front of him. Mike Bliss has had no problems all day. Started 4th, quickly went to the lead, and has led it since as we take you through the Napa full field summary. Told the most impressive move forward from 23rd to 10th. Wayne Anderson deserves a call. He's gone from 24th to 12th.
And we see Tony Raines once again trying to get on the inside of Randy Renfro. This might be it. No, can't quite do it.
He's going to work that inside. Looks like Renfro's having a little trouble keeping it on the bottom. And now Raines is able to drive right by.
Now Renfro's in trouble because, oh, here come on. Oops, he squeezed in between.
He's loose. He can't keep it down there. Harvick is the next truck in line, and he is also a lap down. The red and yellow number 60 of Houston is third on the racetrack, and he's got Biffle on his tailgate. Biffle in 4th in the 50. So that's a lapper, then 3rd, then 4th. And Sauter, who seems to have gotten better since the break, is 5th and right on the tail of that group. Reigns will go after Bliss now.
Now we have nothing between the leader, Mike Bliss, on the left, and the yellow truck of Tony Reigns. Let's see if Reigns can close in on Bliss.
Last time in this situation, he had some success in running down the leader. The difficulty here is you don't get the long run of green. Typically, you get another caution that bunches them back up and gives you the lap trucks to deal with on the restart.
I heard Barry Dodson tell Mike Bliss that was a good lap, the lap that just ran. I did not hear the time, but I did hear him say good lap.
If so, Reigns was better.
50, 75 to go.
Laps counting down as you heard. 75 to go here. The 225 that will make up the distance. Right with Bliss. Got to soft pedal that throttle. We got trouble on the front straightaway. 1, 2, 3 trucks of blue. Anderson is involved in it just after we gave the 84 the call for his move through traffic. Bliss tangled up for the second time. Oh, and both of the guys who had made so many passes today get into that because there is Tolsma turning around and heading the wrong way with a bent up tailgate.
A lot of damage to the back of Tolsma's truck, as we see Boris said, sitting down on the bottom, and a lot of smoke out of the back of Rick Crawford's truck. Doesn't look like a lot of damage. Look at all the smoke.
Oh, yeah. Looks like the circle bar number 14 is in trouble. Tolsma's all beat up, having just cracked the top 10.
Yeah, just make sure we get some air on the spoiler. And right now,
I don't think we need to jack it up.
There would be no air on the spoiler right now because that piece of metal in the bed of the truck is shielding the spoiler.
Just make sure nothing's rubbing. That's the big thing. Only 5 of you can go.
Tolsma's guys, as Crawford is in the pits and Marty is there.
Yeah, the word here, guys, he may have put a hole in the oil cooler. There is oil all over the left side of the motor. They're reaching down deep down in there, and it's awfully hot, as Benny can attest to. But they are definitely in some problems here, and a tough break for Rick Crawford.
Crawford facing a real dilemma. That team based in Cleveland, Georgia. Roland Wolotica, the crew chief, says, I want to get back to Charlotte. That's where I live. And so he's either got to move the team or he's got to find a new crew chief.
Let's see if we can see what happens coming off the corner. And there we see Tolsma going around. The 44's going around. And there we see the damage of Tolsma going in the... And evidently, Crawford ran in the back of someone, I guess. There we see the 14 Crawford. Yeah, the damage has already been done. I don't know. It might have been the 37 truck that he ran in the back of, because that's the one I see going backwards, like someone ran in the back of him. Here's Boris said, there we see Tolsma going by.
Anderson got stopped, didn't he? He didn't actually hit him.
Here we see Tony Roper. Now we can see what happened, because the contact is going to be between these two right there.
Yeah, pretty much two guys trying to get to the same spot at the same time.
Exactly.
Boris was on the bottom, maybe coming up a little. Tolsma was on the top, definitely coming down, and they met. And that was the end of that. So we're back under caution. We'll take the commercial break and come back with more from Louisville Motor Speedway. Stay with us.
It's just body damage. He's back out. They're pumping oil as fast as they can into Crawford's deal. I think they've got that line tied off. I'm looking over at Boris, and they pulled some damage out, fender damage, and he's going back out right now.
Hold the horse race.
They're saying 1 to green.
Don't hit the sweeper, Boris.
Heavy smoke out of the back of his truck. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going.
One to go.
Be one to go here when they cross start finish this time. There's Wayne Anderson, his dad Dickie, the Florida short track legend, here this weekend to watch his son race for Cintas Rookie of the Year. And he was having a good run, having come to 12th spot, but lost a lap on that last altercation. Basically found himself with nowhere to go, didn't hit anything, but lost the lap in the process, and will now be 16th on the restart. If the race ended now, Hornaday would lead by 27. You'll remember right after he was black flagged early in the race. Again, the hypothetical situation. Sprague had moved ahead of him in the points, but Hornaday's been able to gobble back positions slowly and now sits in 18th spot, one lap down as we prepare for the restart. Quick update from Marty before we go green.
31 truck, Sawinski. They've got smoke. It's a header that they've got a leak on the valve cover. We're back to green.
Looks like Rain's got a little better restart that time, and there's a lot of smoke coming out of that 31 for Zawinski, who's jumped up into the thick of the Cintas rookie battle coming out of the ASA ranks to race trucks. Anderson could not get wedged into the spot behind the leader and instead falls in behind Rains. So the loser in that deal is Houston, the orange and red truck, who now has two lap machines between him and the man he needs to beat for position. So once again, we'll get a chance to see if Rains can do anything with Bliss here.
And Kevin Zawinski has been black flagged by the NASCAR officials for the smoke.
That's a good move. That was getting pretty heavy.
Now, it looks like Tony Raines is a pretty doggone good truck. There he is, the yellow freight. Yellow truck.
You got some room, buddy. You got some room.
Tony Raines, radio communication with his pit crew and spotter.
Bliss is hustling, but Raines may be taking away a truck like that lap. He's been good at I-70 Speedway. He's won twice there, but this team overall has improved significantly. Those wins, of course, are the high points, but week in and week out, they have been consistent point gatherers, and that's what you look for in NASCAR competition. Tony Raines is up to 4th in the championship standings. He's definitely catching Bliss, but he's catching him very slowly.
It's going to be very difficult to pass. He's got to just hope that Mike Bliss makes a mistake. And at this level, mistakes very rarely happen by the driver. Normally something caused that mistake, like a bump from behind.
You saw Zawinski coming to the pit a second time. He came in, they looked, he went back out, came back in, and the search continues for the oil leak on Zawinski's truck, which has now fallen to 26th spot in the order, and he's 3 laps down. This is a decent race right here. This is for 4th position, Biffle versus Sauter. Sauter's truck having come alive here in the second half. Hornaday behind them, still a lap down. Oh, and around goes the 66 truck. And I have a terrible time remembering that Tom Hubert is in that thing now.
There's another truck spun down on the inside. That's Randy Toll's man. Joe Rudman has made some heavy contact with the Hubert truck and now has stalled on the backstretch.
Rudman was a top 10 truck all day, but he gets caught up in that mess and ends up facing the wrong way and perhaps dead engine.
And we see where he made contact with the 66.
Yes,
that's what Rudman did. And also the front of the Keselowski truck is damaged pretty bad. So he ran in the back of someone. It might have been Tolzman.
Tolzman's day has gone south in a very big way. After he came from 23rd to 10th, he's been involved in consecutive tangles here. Rudman has the Exide 99 running again, the 53-year-old runner-up twice in previous Louisville races, hoping to move up one spot here this afternoon. Doesn't look like it's going to happen.
We can see the heavy damage to the front of his truck, and we can see that the front fender is, in fact, rubbing the tire, so he'll have to go in and hope the NASCAR allows him to have a new tire there. Under NASCAR rules, you cannot change tires other than at the halfway break.
Tail end of what happened here.
There we see Hubert, the 66, sitting there, and all these trucks are going by. We see the 29 ran in the back of someone, and here's Joe Ruttman going to come in here someplace. Truck still splitting them, and there we see, oh, I'm sorry, the contact has already been happening.
Must already happened.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it already happened.
I couldn't imagine Joe was going to hit him that late. Here's Ruttman's pit. Marty's there.
Well, it looks like he got punched in the nose in a heavyweight fight, and unfortunately they're looking at the radiator and they think they may have a problem there as far as overheating. They've got a lot of body damages all the way back up into the right front wheel. They're going to have a hard time getting all that moved out, all those air cooler lines and everything else there. They're getting the jack up now, but he's going to go several laps down, so this is really going to hurt Ruttman's points championship effort.
Third in the standings coming in, Joe Ruttman, suffering extensive damage here at Louisville. Second of the top 3 guys in the points to struggle here today. Joined us late. Hornaday was black flagged early for a transmission cooler leak, and as a result lost 2 laps. He's got one of those back, and Hornaday is currently 15th in the running order of the second truck on the second truck 1 lap down. Sprague has had a comparatively uneventful day and is 9th in the running order. So Hornaday is moving back closer and closer to Sprague because we only have 13 trucks left on the lead lap. Here's the way your top 10 run as we take the commercial break. What do you think, BP?
The lap traffic is killing this race.
No, they're using bungee cords like crazy to try and just get him back out. They're not going to have to change the radiator.
One to go. What Chris Morgan is saying.
Sweeper race, sweeper race. Will they beat the sweeper back to start-finish? We're back at Louisville Motor Speedway, just about set for the restart. Anderson a lap down on the inside of the leader, Mike Bliss, the race-long leader, as Tony Raines comes up in second. The yellow and black Pennzoil machine preparing for the restart. There's Hornaday lurking back there, third on the inside line, looking to get some business done here as the green goes back in the air. Trouble for Anderson. He spins it and takes Hornaday. Hornaday got straight into Anderson as Anderson spun. Sauter is involved. So too Butch Miller. Man. Restarts have been the salvation much of the time for Ron Hornaday. The 2 big exceptions, Watkins Glen, when he was found guilty of jumping a restart that cost him the victory, and now here today as he attempted to take a lap back on the lead lap and instead gets involved in the incident that brings out the 9th caution of the day. And he hurt her bad this time, Benny.
Yeah, we see the left rear tires flat. Also, you got to pick it up because the jack will not go under. Pick it up, guys.
Marty,
Well, can you tell Ron Hornaday sees his points lead just going right out the door? I mean, they are working frantically. He's got damage. They're going to have to pull the body on the left front. He's also going to have some tire wear on the left rear. Well, you can just listen to him. I got a feeling he's going to be back, guys. He's going to have tire rub on the left front.
Trying to keep the thing one lap down, trying to keep it going another lap down, and you're right, you could hear the desperation in Hornaday's voice, letting them know that because of the flat tire, they're going to have to pick the truck up to get it on the jack. Here is the third-ranked driver in the championship with the damage that he sustained on the previous car.
Well, he went back on the racetrack, but I guess he's back in now, doing some more work. Let's see if we can tell exactly what happened. Right behind, let's see, right there we see Wayne Anderson go around and leaves the 16 nowhere to go. Biffle goes up and makes contact with the 16 truck with the left front of his Granger Ford. Now here comes Jay Sauter down trying to dodge.
Thought he had it missed, and he gets into the right rear of Hornaday. So Hornaday caught it on 3 corners. The worst damage appears to be on the left front.
This is onboard camera with Mike Bliss, and we see Anderson just gets down low and around he goes. Randy Renfro did a great job to save his truck. Morris said, takes a look at this action on the backstretch, and I guess we call it a mess rather than action. Let's see Brian Rucker go around.
Rucker's fun, trying to miss it all. Wow. Started with Anderson. The truck just jumped out from under him going into the corner. And there's where Hornaday hit him. Payne. So that fouled up a pretty good run for Wayne, who, well, had actually gotten fouled up the time before. Sauter is now on pit road for attention, and clearly the Ruttman problem has gotten worse. Been in smoke there.
Well, that's out of the Jay Sauter truck, so obviously he's broken the radiator. That has to be an overflow. Marty?
There's steam on the overflow on the right rear of the truck, and these guys are going frantic underneath. He had a great run going. He was running well in the top 10 all throughout the day, and boy, this race, everybody said that if you survive this thing, you come away feeling like you got a victory. Now we know what they mean.
Sauter, 6th in points, the 3rd driver in the top 6 to be involved in an incident here during the course of the less than 225 laps. We've only run 175. We've still got 50 to go. So this has the potential to scramble the championship standings in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We'll take a break and come back to Louisville.
Oh, man. I remember Chase saying, he says, all I want to do is not get swept up in anybody else's deal today.
And so much for that.
Yeah.
Louisville, Compton, Cook, Rover.
How many cars on the lead left now?
11.
11, thanks.
Barfield being the last one.
Okay.
Barfield from a provisional deserves a call.
Got a pair of pipes floating off something in there.
I think if you look closely at Hensley, though, you'll see that he has touched somebody.
If you can tell Rick to come to the ice house pit, I need a battery. I'm getting a signal in my ear.
I'm assuming the way they're putting down oil dry on the racetrack that Wayne Anderson hit some moisture. Or maybe that was...
coverage from Louisville, Kentucky of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, brought to you by Mopar, Chrysler Corporation Parts, and the Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle dealers who sell and install them. By Quaker State, sensible technology. What more do you need to know? And by Suzuki, makers of fine motorcycles and ATVs. Well, it's been a crash fest at Louisville. That's not a huge surprise. Check out the left front of Jimmy Hensley's truck, the donuts hither and thither, and note that Jimmy, Gentleman Jimmy, also beat up in the back for the record, is not. That's a ninth place truck right there, Benny. So the key is just keep on going forward.
It looks like the front bumper's about to fall off the truck, the ninth place truck.
But it's looked that way for 100 laps, so who's going to worry about it? More on him from Marty.
Talking to Jimmy earlier this week, he was saying how happy he was. If you go back to Bristol, June 20th, he was 23rd in the points. They have fought their way back to 7th, and here he is. He's got another top 10 run going.
There's the guy that impresses me. Do you see a dent? Do you see any damage? Maybe a little bit here and there. But Ron Barfield has come from 28 to 11th, keeping the fenders straight, and that's quite an accomplishment today.
We just might put the kiss of death on Barfield.
Oh, don't say that, Benny. Don't say that, Benny. Having a great run here today. Hey, he's scuffed a little paint off the back.
Oh, that's right. See the left rear quarter.
It's all right.
Yeah,
It's all
that's
right. Should be all right. Barfield is the last truck on the lead lap for the record. RPM tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time. At the Winston Cup qualifying all out of the way with Jeff Gordon on the point. The first IRL preview at Atlanta. In the driver's seat with John Menard. That ought to be interesting if you've been following all of the rules disputes in the IRL. Hey, every other series fights over the rules. Why should they be any different, right? They'll have the highlights and the lowlights from the Louisville truck race. That's all coming up on RPM tonight. Somebody has oiled down the racetrack, as if we didn't have enough problems already here in terms of traction and track surface. With a little less than 50 to go, you can see those squiggles of Speedy Drive.
Someone has really, you're right, has oiled this baby down, and they're trying to keep up with it. I don't know if that truck is still on the racetrack or has gone to the pits. If it's on the racetrack, every lap they make, he's making a lap.
They're not keeping even. They got a pretty good system there with that shovel and broom thing going on now. I guess it's practice. We'll take a break and come back. About run the Kubota out of gas. We haven't seen Wallace all day.
It's a good idea, Mike Wallace.
Haven't seen Lonnie Rush. Haven't seen Scott Walters. First car on the lead. The Kroger 225 is 181 old, and this has been a long yellow, our 9th of the day, for a lot of track cleanup, a lot of sweeper work, giving us the opportunity to kind of peruse the lineup and see who's having a good day and who's not.
Well, someone has oiled the racetrack down. We see all the squiggly lines we talked about before we went to break, as we see the oil dry down on the bottom of the racetrack. And I don't know if that culprit is still on the racetrack or not. If it is, then we're fighting a losing battle, because every lap that the cleanup trucks make, this vehicle is making. But hopefully he has gone to the pits, and
they just keep making laps out there. Marty, you got any more on this?
Well, we're going to show you, if we can here, you'll see a streak coming out from the 3 truck all the way out pit lane, and Barry Dotson was pointing this out to NASCAR officials. I reached out. That is coolant, though. That's not oil. So I don't know if he's got that much coolant to make that many laps around there, because they had pitched that thing off. So we'll have to keep an eye on it. But that's the only tip I can give you here from pit lane on who might be dropping some fluid.
Well, Kevin Zawinski is on pit road. We saw the smoke he had a moment ago. Of course, he's going back on the racetrack right now. There we see Biffle. Now, there's the damage that he got when he hit Ron Hornaday just a moment ago in the left front. So it's interesting to see if Biffle's car is going to handle after this, if in fact the thing's towed out or towed in or whatever.
It looked like a snowstorm when they threw that green flag, which is supposed to happen momentarily. The lights are out on the pace truck. The field is forming up. Scott Walters, the former track champion right here at Louisville, will be on the inside of the leader. When Mike Bliss takes the green, here they are scrambling for positions. And we're back at it.
Go around.
I bet it's just a tad slippery out there.
Don't you know it is? And you see Biffle on the outside of the 78 of Renfro. Never see Tony Raines as he tries his best, and now Andy Houston's broken clear of the lap traffic. So, Greg Biffle is the only one in the top four that's having some problem getting through the lap traffic. Tony Raines, meanwhile, is right there.
He's ready to race.
And Tolson once again backs up, and guess what, folks? And the caution flag is out.
Tolsma had such a good thing going here.
He backed in the opening for pit wall, did not hit the wall. It looks like someone was looking down.
Your basic miracle.
Exactly right, the miracle.
Somebody steered him through the opening there. We'll have another look at it. Bottom of your screen.
There we see Tolson. Watch and see if our camera goes. Watch this opening in the racetrack. Watch this. Back in it. How about that?
Well, I would say that's the proverbial masterful job of driving.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
He'd already done all that damage to the back. I suppose the point is that he couldn't have hurt it a whole lot more if he had hit. But the fact is he did bring out the caution for the 10th time today. We're not yet approaching record proportion. The restart was good for Raines and also for Houston, because they were able to get clear of the 37 of Scott Walters, who is the first truck a lap down in 12th spot. That put those three in position to go out and battle, but the caution immediately came back out. We haven't talked much about Wallace today. Started 12th, is 10th. He's got a pretty fair bit of damage on the left side, but relatively speaking, has stayed out of trouble.
Well, you should have seen the truck last night after qualifying.
Good point.
Because in qualifying, he backed in the fence down in turn one, and the crew stayed here till about 11 o'clock last night repairing the damage on this Purelator truck.
Kenny Schrader, it's going to pay for itself here today if he hangs on for another 30 laps or so. Marty, more on that?
Well, normally when you do that much damage, the team would just pull out the backup truck, but they said, hey, wait a minute, we can't make it from the back of the field to the front because of this track position, and then also, we're just going to tear up a second truck. So they decided, like Benny said, to stay up late. They fixed it. He's got a good run going.
It's already wrecked. We got that part out of the way. We don't have to worry about doing that tomorrow.
And Mike, he's kept the truck in one piece. Meanwhile, the signal's been given. 1 lap to go.
You get out of this place with one that's still running and got 4 wheels on it, you've done okay. Walters will get another shot at him here. Grew up on this racetrack, raced here regularly every Saturday night for 4 years, although that was back before they reconfigured the place. So it is a bit different circuit now than it was then. It used to be a small 3/8. Now it's a small half mile, 7/16 they call it technically.
Well, the cleanup truck is back on the racetrack once again. The green flag has been called off, and the cleanup truck is back on the track. Evidently, there's a piece of debris someplace.
We'll be back to finish this baby up. Let's go ahead and jam that commercial in here, and then we'll come back for the restart at Louisville Motor Speedway. Stay with us. We're going to miss this one by a mile. I gather that's our last break, though, did I hear you say? Was that our last break? I I assume we're going to do a panic close, right? Glad I'm not the producer.
Clear, clear, clear. Clear all round.
Right.
Once again, total consideration.
Caution. Go hard.
We're back at Louisville Motor Speedway. Randy Tolsma has had yet another spin, but did not bring out the caution. It happened a little less than a lap ago. This time, Houston did not get a very good restart, so it's Bliss followed by Raines. Then the lap truck 37 of Walters, who's 12th the lap down. Houston behind him is third in the running order.
And here comes Tony Raines, and he is really, really on the move. Oh, he's right there. But Bliss comes down, blocks that move. Meanwhile, Scott Walters trying to figure out how he's going to pass both of them.
First time today that Bliss has had serious pressure, and it comes from Tony Raines in the 19, the Pennzoil truck. Last year a Dodge, this year a Ford. Kurt Rohrig's machine is roaring here today as he goes after Bliss, and now Bliss gets a good drive off the corner and opens up a couple of truck lengths. They both started in the top half dozen. Houston is starting third, still sits in third. Sprague is in trouble.
He spins, no caution.
To point out, no caution flew. Sprague in 8th spot, spins it around, and I'm not sure he even lost a position.
He did a 360, kept going, and you're right. I'm not sure he lost a spot at all. Great job.
Wow.
Meanwhile, here comes Raines, and we see that Andy Houston's been able to get by Scott Walters.
Andy's going to go up there and make this interesting. Watch Sprague. I don't think he loses a spot. Round he goes. Harvick's a lap down. Hensley couldn't get by him. Had to get on the brakes to avoid hitting him, and sure enough, Sprague spun it and didn't lose a spot.
There was some contact between Sprague and the truck going by on the outside. Here's Raines taking a look once again.
Patience is important to get you down to the 200 lap mark, but then it's time to race, Benny. I don't think there'll be a lot of patience here.
And Lance Norrick once again spins down. And the contact between the first two. Raines, Bliss goes up the racetrack lane. Raines backed off and let Bliss have the spot back.
Wow. Here comes Walters up on the outside trying to get a lap back. In that shuffle, Houston will get to the bottom and try to retake what he had and see if he can't get up there to challenge the leaders. We're getting short, 25 to go. Raines had a shot at Bliss during that little altercation, but couldn't pull it off. Now we'll try again.
Meanwhile, back behind us, Stacy Compton is trying to go on the outside of Biffle, did not quite make it.
Compton hasn't had a call for a while. He is fifth and has been pretty consistent all day long. Biffle is your fourth place truck. He's at the rear deck of Andy Houston, the man who's battling for Cintas Rookie of the Year. Raines putting the pressure on Bliss.
Scott Walters of 37, the red man truck, the only truck in this group not in the lead lap. Looks like he's trying to get out of the way, or is he trying to pass these guys?
I'm not sure. I've thought that 3 times, Benny, and then I keep thinking, no, you know what? He's trying to pass these guys on the outside. Meanwhile, Houston has not yet been able to come up and take the spot. Now I think Walters is going to let him go. Comes a point when you realize, you know what? I got to race these guys all year long. Maybe I better get out of the way.
Meanwhile, Mike Bliss and Tony Raines, I think Raines is a faster truck, but he's in second. Bliss is in front, and then in this racetrack, that means a great deal.
You know Bliss is hungry. Especially at this racetrack, he's had his share of frustration. Finally won a race at Milwaukee and got the monkey off his back, but he'd love to make it 2 here. Compton is inside Biffle.
Oh, contact. And around goes Biffle.
That should get the caution flag. Well, maybe not.
Biffle keeps going.
Back up. No caution. very expensive for Biffle.
And here comes Raines. Man, he's right there.
Got horse racing. Imagine that. Horse racing next. We'll leave Louisville to go horse racing in Saratoga Springs, New York. It's the Travers Stakes. We've got trouble on the backstretch.
Sprague. It's Jack Sprague.
Second time in 10 laps he's been around. This time the caution will fly. Man, 11th caution of the day. This one's for Sprague.
Awful good lines, Mike.
Kudos from the spotter for Bliss for keeping that truck nice and wide and keeping the challenging Tony Raines at bay. Sprague, despite 2 spins, remains on the lead lap and in the top 10.
Where are you, Tim?
Here's see Stacy Compton. He's getting on the inside, trying to get on the inside of Biffle. He's there, makes contact. Around goes Biffle. Biffle does the 360, keeps going. And we see Jack Sprague. He's trying to go on the outside of the 55. Just around he goes. And there's Scott Walters. And Walters goes under him and does not make contact.
Did a nice job of missing him there. That one did bring out the 11th caution of the day. Hornaday, if you're keeping score, is 18th and 3 laps down. Sprague now 10th. And Rudman is history. Joe Rudman has... I don't think he ever went back out on the racetrack. If he did, he's 44 laps down. So Rudman's going to be the huge loser in terms of points. Hornaday will be a loser, but less so. In fact, magically on your screen appear the points as they would be if the race ended right now. Hornaday still with the lead, but Hensley close. Barfield with the potential to move up a spot, so too Wallace, while Tolsma would lose one. Tolsma was having a great run until about 15 minutes ago, and he's been spun 3 times. That kind of a day. More on the leaders from Marty Reed on pit road.
Well, I went up to Barry Dodson, crew chief for Mike Bliss. I said, what's he saying? He says, and he had that hesitant. Well, everything's okay, which usually when Barry says that, there may be something, and it looks like the truck may either be a little tight, a little looser. Can't really tell with Louisville sometimes. But then I walked right next door because these teams are pitting right next to each other, talked to the Pennzoil team, and they said, hey, it's Louisville. We know we got a quicker truck right now than he does. We just got to find a way to get around him.
Well, that's the key. And the question that Benny raised at the top, how long are you patient before you start kind of increasing the pressure of that bump on the tailgate to move the guy out of the way?
Well, signal's been given. 1 more to go.
Been an eventful afternoon. We expected that at Louisville. We've seen some excellent racing for position. We've seen more than our share of, well, I won't say more than our share of yellow. We expect to see a lot of yellow.
This, once again, is a bad situation. You know, NASCAR has the 10 lap to go rule that the lap cars cannot go on the inside. Right now, as they take the green flag, there will be 12 laps to go, which means that the lap cars can go double file, just like Bristol last week. And anytime on the last few laps, when these cars on a racetrack like this, these cars line up side by side, that is a recipe for disaster, as we've seen already today several times.
Walters has proven his ability to run with these guys to create the roadblock, but in his defense, of course, he's trying to maintain his position over the guy behind him. We'll see what happens as he gets back in the air. It's Terry Cook, 88. He was your pole sitter. Raines will clear Walters barely with the final nudge and go after the leader Bliss, so at least the top 2 will be able to race free and clear with 10 to go.
Raines is trying to take a look. Well, I tell you what, if Mike Bliss goes up the racetrack 2 feet, Tony Raines is going to try to jump in that spot.
Is there a spot on the racetrack that's better than another, Benny, or is this constant?
Right here. That's a good spot.
That's why Benny's the expert, and that's why Raines is the leader. He had the faster truck. Bliss left the door open the tiniest bit, and through the hole scored Tony Raines. And now we'll see if he can hang on. Started 6th, currently leads, 9 to go, as the spotter said. Hang on and bring it home, Tony. That was Bliss, but I missed what he said.
One truck back to him, one truck back to him.
Bliss no match for the leader. Question now is Houston. Will he be able to come up and challenge Bliss as well? I don't think so. Laps are winding down as we get set to go to the Travers Stakes. Horse racing, 1 horsepower at a time, coming up next.
And we see that Bliss is, in fact, faster as Lonnie Rush pulls his truck behind pit wall.
Tony Raines and the Roaring Crew now just what? 6 laps away from celebration time and driving away from Mike Bliss. 5 to go for Tony, and you were exactly right, Benny. It was a matter of patience. Keep that pressure on. Don't let all those yellows shake you up. And lo and behold, the hole will open. For Bliss, another afternoon of frustration at Louisville. He's led a bunch of laps here, but his best finish will be this one. Second, depending on what happens. Let's not get premature in the call here as the laps wind down.
Because there's no doubt that anything can happen and has happened just about today.
Yeah, we've seen most of it already. Raines is thinking, don't show that caution flag now.
And I told you that Ron Barfield, we talked about him. Here he comes.
2 to go. 2 laps, buddy. Got plenty of room.
And Ron Barfield is smoking badly.
Be smooth, pal. Be smooth.
Hang on, Barfield. He's in 11th spot.
Be smooth.
The encouragement from the crew. Bring it on home. White flag falls on Tony Raines. The final lap at Louisville Motor Speedway. The last of 225 turns around this tricky oval will be led by the yellow and black Pennzoil Ford. Checkered flag falls. Celebration time.
50% rule is in effect. Booty, get in the box if you would, please, and grab the bag that's got the Pennzoil hat and the yellow hat.
Get the hat, boys. We're going to victory lane.
Let's go, Tony.
3rd win of the year, 4th of his career, 8th Ford victory of the season, 1st ever Ford win at Louisville. Do the donut, buddy.
Oh, hard your truck, man. We're going to run that.
Don't tear it up. We're going to race that one again. Tony Raines has won it for Kurt Rohrig, the owner. Bliss comes home second this
Remember, Tony,
afternoon.
you got Pennzoil, yellow, Ford, Pro Motor. Make sure you give those guys a mention on the interview. Say hi to Radar.
Hey, Tony Raines, Benny Parsons, ESPN. You read me?
Sir.
Well, your donut just cost you TV time, but anyway, congratulations.
Thank you, Matt.
Pretty tough race today, wasn't it?
No, all right. I thought it was going to be different, but we had a pretty good truck.
Congratulations, Tony.
We have gone way long here with all the cautions at Louisville, but there is your winner. Raines has won it. The celebration about to begin as we take a look at your championship standings. Hornaday hangs on by a scant 26 after finishing downfield today 17th after a day of troubles. Ruttman's problems were even worse. He remains 3rd in the championship standings. Raines took a big fight out of everybody's point lead here today, as he is now just 185 out of the lead. The Travers Stakes horse race coming up next as we congratulate the winner, Tony Raines. For Marty Reed and Benny Parsons, thank you all for being here, and so long from Louisville Motor Speedway.
Didn't go to that. If those guys want to do that bullshit, they don't deserve a victory lane.
Get all them sponsors in.
No. You rolling?
Want to do a donut, make another lap.
Okay. Well, you only led like what, maybe 10 laps, but boy, they were the best ones to lead.
They sure are. That last one's the most important, and a few before that doesn't hurt any. I want to thank Pennzoil and Yellow Freight, and this Ford F-150 is awesome. This track is a little difficult today, but everybody had the same boat, and we had a pretty good truck, stayed out of trouble, and we put scuffs on at halftime. A lot of guys put stickers, and we thought that would help us, and it appeared that it did, because there at the end, Mike was slowing down a little bit, and we were able to get underneath him.
Yeah, I mean, he dominated.
Thank you.
All
See
the
ya.
race. And then all of a sudden, you're coming up and Man, you put so much pressure on him.
Well, you got to do that sometimes. You know, he was pretty good out front, and then on that one restart, our truck was still good. And I thought he was getting a little loose, so I kept pushing, making him run harder and harder. And as slippery as that corner is down there, you know, either he was going to make a mistake or I was and lose the position. Fortunately, we got a break and we win the race, and this is great. You know, it's definitely didn't turn out the way we thought it would.
Well, you definitely had one moment where you could have taken him out. I mean, you were underneath him and you touched him, but you backed out, gave him a chance to recover.
I did. I got a run on him coming down the front stretch here, and it wasn't clean, and I nicked him pretty good. And I didn't want to pass him that way, and I had a little room, so I stepped on the brakes, let him gather it up. I mean, you know, I don't want to get any more booze than I have to, you know, but I want to win the race. I want to race Mike clean, and I hope he'd race me the same way.
Well, congratulations. Good win.
Appreciate it.
Are we clear? You're welcome.